You knew this would happen. Because what's in here isn't safe anymore. For anyone. You knew. You didn't tell me. I trusted you. I trusted you.
Okay, so I was thinking we could start up against this wall. I thought the lights accented it really nicely.
I can't do this.
What, you don't like the lighting? We could try it up against this wall? I could try and take down the blinds, I guess.
No, I mean this. Us.
Seriously.
It's not right. It doesn't feel right.
Anymore? When did you start feeling like this?
Doesn't matter.
No, actually, it does matter to me. Just talk to me.
I have kids. They don't deserve this.
Okay, it's been fine for months. And now you suddenly want to grow a conscience? I can't believe that you would do this. I thought we had something. I thought we had something.
It was something. I'm not saying it didn't mean anything. Obviously I care, but
Yeah.
you knew what it was.
Did I?
I've made my decision. It's over.
Okay. Okay, fine. Go. Hey, come on. Come on. Baby, baby. Hey, hey, hey. Sit up. What's that? What's that? Is that a foreign language? I can't understand you with your accent. Oh, you're leaving, right? It's over between us? Is that what you're saying? Well, I can't understand you. Dogs!
Memory scan complete. Defendant 80163 found guilty of first-degree murder.
Process sentencing.
Under Title 18 of United States Code, Defendant has been sentenced to death. Execution order approved. 1013327. Execution complete.
Hello?
Detective Anderson, please.
This is him.
Did you just carry out execution order 1013327?
Yes, I did.
The data shows you didn't scan for memory implants. Is there a reason why?
Memory implants.
Yes.
I wasn't informed that was an active protocol.
Well, it was. And you may have just killed an innocent man. Report back to the office for debriefing.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you so much for getting this far in this series. I'm Spencer Longmore. I'm one of the creators in this series. I also play the lead actor, Detective Emery Anderson. And we really appreciate you coming along this journey with us. And we just want to update you guys on what's been going on in these past few months. So thank you for tuning in.
Yep, and I am Nick Montalvo. I am also one of the creators, writer, and director of the short that you just watched. So, to echo Spencer, we appreciate you guys checking it out, and hopefully there's more to come. Me and Spencer were kind of batting around ideas, thinking of something to shoot, and I had initially had an idea where the whole scene, the whole meat of the short takes place inside of a virtual reality. And then it kind of built from there into incorporating it being almost like a virtual court justice system type of thing. And so, we both liked that idea. We ended up, pulling our resources and shooting it. And after we had actually shot the initial short, which was only about 4 or 5 minutes long,
Right.
I think Spencer was like, we need an ending. We need like a cliffhanger to this. And once we tacked on that cliffhanger, I feel like we saw room for it to grow from there. So it went from being just a little isolated short film with a nice little twist at the end to adding on this ending that kind of left you with an ambiguous sort of feeling at the end, to going, oh, this could be more. Like, we could really explore what this justice system is in this world.
Yeah, and I think once we had this short, it wasn't until we were sort of at the end that I was like, whoa, like, this is a show, like, I think that conceptually we understood what we had, but it wasn't until we were really getting in it that we were like, this is something, this is a series, and so I think, and then, obviously we went and we then created the rest of the series. But I think that's really cool, because what a lot of times, sometimes people just think, well, how did the idea come? Like, it's a process, like you kind of start somewhere, and as you go through that process, and we actively did it. Like, we didn't just write something and then it unfolds, and sometimes that happens. We actually were shooting, we were, as Nick say, it was action based, right? And so we were out there actually shooting it, doing it ourselves, and it's great, because in that, a lot of the ideas, they begin to flow once you get back into the editing room and things like that. And so that's kind of how this all ultimately came to be. We're in editing room, we were getting ready to release, everything in our world happened. And so I think it started around, was that March, with the pandemic. And that basically, it kind of paused us, I want to say, for about, maybe about at least a month. We just was like, we were on pause, as everyone else in the world was. We didn't know, which way, I should say, we were going to go. We didn't know exactly how we were going to move forward, just because our industry was at a pause, and so I think that conversation led to, okay, people are at home, no one is really filming. We're not able to, film. We're working on a different project. And so we didn't know exactly, what to do. So we ultimately decided, well, let's just, release it, let's just put the short out. So we started with putting out the behind the scenes piece, and that was received well, and was like, okay, I'm waiting for it. Like, I want to see it. I want to see the short where it's at, and then we sort of stopped there. We was kind of finishing the last touches, and I want to say maybe what was it, a month later, the gruesome injustice of George Floyd happened, and that personally really put a pause to me and things that I was doing, creatively, and I just had to take a pause. I'm sure as everyone else, around our country did, and so I really wasn't thinking about what to do creatively with this particular short or whatever, or any show that I had. I tried to be in tune to what the moment was. And so as that progressed, the unrest happened, the racial unrest and injustice that was going on, and a lot of things that were connected to the police system, and the ideas for reform occurred, and different solutions were being put out there. And as I began to have conversations with Nick and other producers and different people in the industry, I began to, process, what it was. Again, as time went on, I thought about, maybe what the system was. And I think I called you, Nick, and I was like, you know what? I think what's in the system could be relevant to what is going on currently in our overall justice system, because the big thing was the aspects of systemic injustice, inequity, specifically as it related to the justice system or the law enforcement system or the entire system, right? In this country. And so we began to have that conversation, and that's when, we were like, yeah, there is something here. And so we ultimately began to, build that out. We connected with another producer, a good friend of mine, and he helped us to, kind of connect some of the dots. And me and Nick just went back to it, and we just ultimately built out what would then become, instead of the short series, it became a long form hour drama.
It definitely, you know, all the unrest sparked thoughts of expanding it, and what would a future justice system look like that was ultimately a fair justice system. You know,
Right.
how does one even build that? And so, you know, we kind of had the seed with you know, building a less corrupt court system. You know, judge, jury, executioner, I guess, all done by artificial intelligence.
Right.
But you know, the as you mentioned, the full scope of it wasn't entirely in front of us at that time.
But it took what was going on,
Right.
to sort of take a step back. And I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking about the show, and it wasn't until I was having conversations that it allowed, you know, the systems, the elements of the system, and how it could be sort of relevant to what is taking place today, but from a sci-fi and futuristic perspective, and just showing, obviously in a fictional way, and but in a very entertaining sci-fi way, what a fair justice system could look like. But also, as you expand it, it expands into every aspect of law enforcement in our world. You know, all aspects. You know, it affects, you know, everything from the school system to the DMV, right? You know, it was just we took it that far, and that was, you know, one of the sort of revelations, I would say, of if you really incorporate something that is fair, you have to touch in to every aspect of our lives, right? Because one sense of systemic injustice has its way of touching all areas, you know, of how we exist, right? So yeah, I felt that was important to go really deep.
Yeah, and I also think that unrest, coupled with the pandemic, and the fact that, you know, so many states, so many of their governments were implementing these new laws and these new restrictions that a lot of people weren't quite comfortable with. Also kind of plays into the system as well. Seeing is that in order to build this system, you are going to have to, you know, make some adjustments to current laws, especially privacy. You know, how does that settle with the people? You know, because there's always going to be outliers that are not interested in you know, conforming to any sort of system. And you know, right or wrong,
Right.
that's just, you know, that's the battle that you're going to have to face. Anytime there's going to be change, there's going to be people that are against that change. It's going to be uncomfortable, and people inherently don't like being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's another thing that the show and the long form explores as well, is not only this is what it could look like, but what are you going to have to lose in order for it to look like this?
Right. What's the give and take?
Right. Yeah. And are you willing to accept that?
Right.
I think the other big question that the show asks is there really such a thing as a fair system, or is it always just going to be kind of a facade? Is it always going to be just the promise of a fair system, but at the end of the day, with all the human involvement, there's always going to be that human element that kind of gives it a little angle. There's always going to be an angle to it of how, the powers that be may use it to their advantage.
Certainly. And I think that's the more
or is it a fair system, or did they build a fair system in the system?
Yes, I mean there's aspects to the system itself being built fairly, and what it's intended to do is create fairness within the society and to make it a more safe and just society. But there is always going to be a need for someone to control that system.
Right.
And so the question is, the human element and the imperfection of mankind ultimately what we're seeing, the question is, will that always prevail and show itself as fallen mankind through no matter what we create that is ultimately perfect or desiring for it to be perfect? Will we still, at the end of the day, corrupt it? Right. So I think the goal is just to, continue to connect and to further develop as much as we can the show out, but also to continue to shop the show and connect with different producers and partners that may want to take this show further. Thank you, for watching this and just for tuning in. If you want to continue to follow us, you can hit us on Instagram and Facebook. The links are in the description. And also, if you have any questions, you want to email us a little bit more directly, you can hit us at thesystemseries@gmail.com. And we could send you any information that you might need. But definitely, we appreciate it. Thanks for going on this journey with us, and peace.